that might be disposed of improperly, because those could cause some fires that could get out of control pretty quickly, especially with those gusty winds. But check out these temperatures out there this evening. 70 already in Forsyth, 71 in Warner Robins, and 73 in Gordon. As we're heading into the rest of the evening, it's going to be cooling off pretty quickly, down to 53 degrees by 11 p.m., 49 by 2 a.m. We'll be in the mid-40s by early tomorrow morning.
In high definition, this is 41 NBC News at 6.
Well, good evening. Thanks for joining us for 41 NBC News at 6. I'm Tucker Sargent. Our top story tonight at 6, the Bibb County Sheriff's Office is working to figure out how a body ended up under a mattress at an illegal dumping site. Deputies say someone walking along Churchill Street in Macon found the body around 9:30 this morning. Coroner Leon Jones identified the victim as 26-year-old Rashad Norwood of Macon. He died from multiple gunshot wounds. We spoke with the neighbor who says he found Norwood and called 911.
I mean, I wasn't prepared for that, you know. I wasn't prepared for that. Yeah, just something that just happened up on.
Investigators believe the shooting happened in a different location, and they're working to gather more details. Coroner Leon Jones says this is the county's 22nd homicide this year. Well, in Johnson County, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation has a suspect in custody for the murders of two teenagers. 22-year-old Daniel Brinson of Washington County is charged with shooting and killing 18-year-olds Destiny Knight of Wrightsville and Charles Garrett of East Dublin. They were found dead at a home in Wrightsville on April 23rd. The GBI says Brinson knew Garrett, and investigators found Brinson in Cobb County already in custody on unrelated drug charges. Well, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office assisted the Pike County Sheriff's Office this morning in capturing an escaped inmate. A Monroe County K-9, Tyson, tracked Jason Goolsby behind a home on Rocky Creek Road and across the creek to find him hiding in a tent covered in brush. The Sheriff's Office says Goolsby walked off a morning detail Thursday while serving time for drug offenses. Well, the Warner Robins Police Department is urging people struggling with addiction to get help. This comes after they saw an uptick in calls responding to overdoses in April. 41 NBC's Ariel Schiller tells us how and where people can get help.
The Warner Robins Police Department noticed an alarming trend in April. The department posted to Facebook on May 3rd about the amount of overdose calls they responded to. Since the beginning of the year, officers responded to an average of 5 overdose calls a month. That number spiked to 18 in April. Warner Robins Police Chief John Wagner says they made the post to let people know there is help available if you need it.
We want to make sure that they're seeing the help or getting the help that they need. Because there'll be a time and a place that they may not be in a spot where they can call for help or where somebody will find them.
Chief Wagner says many of the calls were the result of opioids, and paramedics had to revive those people with Narcan. He says none of the people were arrested, but they do investigate where the illegal substances come from. Chief Wagner urges people to get help, whether it's you who's struggling with addiction or someone you know.
Please call and get some help, because the chance of surviving one of these ordeals sometimes is fatal.
Marissa Cody is the recovery support supervisor at Macon Recovers. She says if you're struggling with drug addiction, you are not alone. Cody says there are a lot of resources people can use.
We have 12-step meetings that people can attend. We have sober social events for people who just need like a safe and sober place to hang out. We also have one-on-one peer support.
Cody says the opioid epidemic is an epidemic inside of the pandemic. According to data from the Georgia Department of Public Health, from March 2020 to August of 2020, there is a 4.4% average weekly increase among opioid-involved emergency department visits. There was also a 12.8% average weekly increase with visits mentioning Narcan. Cody says recovery is not only possible, it's the expectation.
We just want to be able to provide that support to let people know, you're not alone, and there's other people out there just like you who are willing to help you on your way.
In Warner Robins, Ariel Schiller, 41 NBC News.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, you can go to our website, 41nbc.com, for a list of resources. Governor Brian Kemp put Macon-Bibb County one step closer to a penny sales tax. 41 NBC's Peyton Lewis watched him sign a bill that will allow voters to decide if they want it. She has more details on how the tax could impact you.
Macon-Bibb leaders were all smiles Friday after Governor Brian Kemp signed approval for voters to decide on an other local option sales tax in Bibb County. The tax would add an extra penny onto the bill for anything purchased in Macon-Bibb and would collect around $30 million. Senator John Kennedy says after 3 years of trying to get an Olost passed, he's looking forward to finally seeing what it can do for the community.
What this allows is the folks of Macon to decide by referendum to give us an opportunity to lower our property taxes. And so we appreciate the governor being in Macon, allowing us to allow this to become law right here in our town.
Mayor Lester Miller says the money collected would go towards public safety and boosting the local economy.
It allows a safety net to have enough money in our general fund to make sure that we fully fund all of our first responders. This is not just the police, this is the fire department, this is our EMA, and this is our 911 operators as well.
State Representative Robert Dickey was also at the Georgia Farm Bureau to support the bill signing. He says if Bibb voters approve an Olost, that could open doors for other counties too.
Macon-Bibb succeeds, the whole middle of Georgia succeeds. And so we're all tied together.
And before he signed the bill, the governor took a moment to thank the local government for their work toward Olost and in fighting the pandemic.
I'm excited to sign this. Also just want to thank the local delegation for their support in our fight against COVID with our mass vaccination site. We've worked with everyone here, with the hospitals and others during very difficult times, so we just appreciate y'all's leadership on that as well.
Mayor Lester Miller says it made him happy to see a dream for Olost approval become a reality.
Well, it's just a very special moment for me because 2.5 years ago when I started my campaign, Olost is one of the #1 provisions. I always had a public safety in mind to do that. I say the fourth time the charm is because there's a lot of hard work that went into getting this done.
Although the governor signed his approval, the Olost tax still has to pass in voting from the community as well. In Macon, Peyton Lewis, 41 NBC News.
And Macon-Bibb attorneys are currently looking at how soon voters could head to the polls to make the final decision on that Olost tax.